Hi, welcome to the Java programming step-by-step video tutorial. The very first question that is asked is, why did Java become famous? Java became famous because it is a platform independent programming language. So the next question that is asked is, what is platform independence? Now if you take a language like C or C++, now you write them on top of the Windows operating system and you compile them. Once compiled, the C and C++ languages makes use of the Windows operating system resources to run. So you cannot take this compiled C and C++ code and try to run it on the Linux. So this C and C++ are not platform independent because they depend on their operating systems. So whichever platform you compiled in, you have to run them only on that particular platform or that operating system. So how did they make Java platform independent? What they did is they brought in another layer between the Java language and the operating system. The layer is called the Java Virtual Machine, or JVM for short. Now there are different virtual machines for different operating systems. Now this virtual machine is dependent on the operating system. But Java is will run on top of the Java Virtual Machine. So like this. So thereby there is a layer. So you can see that they have brought in a layer between the language and the operating system, thereby making Java a platform independent language. Java was originally created for creating programs for your mobile phones, your refrigerator and your TV and your cars and all those things. Since all these various devices had different types of operating system, they decided that they want a language which is platform independent, and they hit upon this idea called the Java Virtual Machine. So this is the reason Java is called a platform independent language. Now in this particular course we are going to do these following chapters. In chapter 1 we are going to learn about the installation of the Java Development Kit, the Java Virtual Machine, etc., and the Eclipse IDE, that is the Integrated Development Environment. This tool is used to write Java programs. In chapter 2 we will learn the basic syntax and statements that are available in Java, including data types and operators. Then we will do like a few exercises and then a small review of all the topics we had done in chapter 1. In chapter 3 we are going to learn about the class and object. We are going to learn like the various, like how to write a method. We are going to learn how to write a method, the method signature and constructors. In chapter 4 we are going to be introduced to the object-oriented programming concepts, especially what makes a language object-oriented programming language. We are also going to learn about encapsulation and data hiding and polymorphism and overloading. Now with all the concepts we had learned till chapter 4, we are going to do a small sample project using the Java programming language. Then we will do a quick review of all the topics. In chapter 6 we are going to learn about inheritance, that is like we are going to learn about abstract classes, interfaces, and like the super keyword and the concept of overriding. In chapter 7 we will be introduced to collections, that is list, array list, hash map and generics. And then we will have like a quick review of all the topics we did till then. In chapter 8 we will look at like various types of exceptions, that is try, catch, finally and throws. Chapter 9 we will look at the final keyword, the static keyword and variable arguments, and then we will finish off this entire course with a final review. Chapter 1 we will learn how to install Java and Eclipse IDE. To install Java you need to install something called the Java Development Kit, JDK. It will install the compiler, virtual machine and related files. Now you can write Java programs in Notepad, but it will be very difficult to program. You need to remember syntax, etc., and if there are any issues you need to know like how to go catch those issues. So the industry uses a free tool like Eclipse and NetBeans, etc. We will use Eclipse, and we will take a look at it very soon. So we need to install the Java Development Kit and Eclipse IDE. So to install Java, go to Google and type in Java JDK download. So it will take you to like a site called Java SE downloads or something. Click on it. Now here you can see that you can go to the latest version, that is Java Standard Edition 7. You can see that this is the JDK and this is the Java runtime environment. If you install JDK, it will install JRE too, so you don't have to worry about it. So just click on download here for the JDK. Once you click on download, it will tell you, like, it will ask you what kind of operating system do you have. You accept the license agreement, and then you decide whether you have a 64-bit or a 32-bit. If you have a 32-bit operating system, then you select this. If you have a 64-bit, select this. To find out what kind of operating system you have, you can right click on my computer, or if you have Windows 7, you can right click here on this computer, click on properties, and here you can see that the system type is 64-bit. If you have XP or Vista, just right click on my computer and click on properties. You will be able to see how many bits is your operating system. Now I have like a 64-bit operating system, Windows 64-bit. So here I'm going to click on this and then save this particular file. Now after saving your file, double click on the file and open it. This is likely to take some time. The wizard is pretty simple and straightforward. You can just click next, go through everything. It will install it in program files, Java JDK 1.7. If you want to change it, you can change it, but I suggest you leave it as it is. Click next. So here you can see that the development kit has been successfully installed. Now once you have installed the Java development kit, you can install the Eclipse IDE, that is the integrated development environment, which will make writing your Java programs easy. So in Google you can search for Eclipse IDE, and then it will take you to this particular website. You can go to downloads, and over here you can download either like Eclipse IDE for Java developers, or you can download Eclipse IDE for Java Enterprise Edition developers. The difference between these two are, like, basically if you are going to learn about Hibernate, if you are going to learn about JSP servlets and Spring and all those things, then it is better you go for this Eclipse IDE for Java Enterprise Edition developers. But if you're going to pretty much stick with Java, basic Java, then Eclipse IDE for Java developers is more than enough. Or you can download the classic Eclipse also. So you can either download the 32-bit or the 64-bit. So once you download the 64-bit or 32-bit Eclipse Java Enterprise Edition, all you have to do is right click, extract files. You can install WinRAR to extract files, and then just click on OK, or you can extract it anywhere. It's just a direct extraction. So in my case, I have extracted to this Eclipse folder in C drive. All you have to do is come here, create a shortcut for this Eclipse, create a shortcut and paste it to your desktop. Right click, create shortcut. Once you have the shortcut here, you can pull this to your desktop. Or you can cut and paste it to your desktop. Or if you want, you can leave it here itself, and then you can double click on this Eclipse to start Eclipse. In chapter 2, we are going to learn the Java syntax by writing some small Java programs. Go to your desktop or wherever you installed Eclipse and double click on Eclipse. Now you can click on the browse button and select any folder. This will be your workspace. I created a folder in the C drive called Learn Java. I am selecting that particular folder and I will click OK. So this C:\Learn Java folder will be my workspace. That is, all the sample programs will be stored here. And I'm going to click OK. You can close on the welcome screen. The very first thing that you have to do is we have to create a project. So let us click on File, New, and then here select Project. Now we want to create a Java project. So select Java project and click Next. Here we can give any project name. I'm just going to name this project as first project. Now you can keep everything as it is, like use default location and the environment is Java 1.7. Click next and then you can click finish. It will ask you some like, do you want to open the Java perspective? Say yes. So now we have a project, and if you click here right next to the project, you will see that it has a source folder. The SRC means is a source folder where you can store all your Java programs. Now before writing any Java program, let us create something called as a package. A package is nothing but folders in Java. We can right click on the source, click new package and create a package like day1.examples and click finish. Now these packages are nothing but folders in Java. If you want to see the folder structure, you can go to the C drive that Learn Java workspace. You can go to the C drive Learn Java workspace and you can see that project name first project, and under which we see that source folder, and under which you will see this day1 folder, and under which you will see the examples folder. So you can see that the packages that we created there basically created folders for us in the C drive. So once we have created a package, let us create a small Java program. So let us right click on a package, click on new class. Now don't worry about what a class is, we will learn that very soon, but for now remember, if you want to write any Java program, you need to create something called as a class. And let us call this class my first class. Now remember, while creating the class name, you need to use a capital letter. The class name starts with a capital letter, and then the subsequent words will also have to be capital letters. For example, my M is capital, and then first class F is capital and C is capital. There should be no space between these particular words. It should be one word. Also, click on this public static void main. Of course, you will learn very soon about the use of all these things, but for now, just remember to create a class and then select public static void main, click finish. Now I want to increase the font size in Eclipse so that everyone can see clearly. To increase the font size, click on Windows Preferences, type in font, select colors and font, basic, text font, click edit, and here you can select a size and click OK. Now before writing any program, we have to learn how to write comments. Comments are useful in describing a particular program. For example, I want to say that I am planning to learn Java, so I want to write a comment. So let me delete these things. Now to write a multi-line comment, all you have to do is put the slash sign, asterisk, press enter. This will be a multi-line comment like this. Now I can write some kind of a description about this particular program. So here you can see that I have written some kind of a comment. Now this is an example of a multi-line comment. For a single line comment, you need to have 2 slashes. So here you can see that I have like 2 slashes and my first statement. It is a comment. You can write a comment anywhere in a class. It is not going to affect your program. Now if you want to print something to the console, the syntax is system dot. Now remember, the system keyword should start with a capital S, and when you put this particular dot, you should get some kind of a pop-up. This pop-up shows that this particular word you have typed it correctly. System dot out dot println. Then you open the parenthesis and double quotes, and within the double quotes you can type anything you want, like say hello world. Now this is the syntax to print something to the console in Java. System.out.println, and system starts with a capital S, and within double quotes you can type in anything you want. Now you can save this particular program by clicking on the save button here, and to run this program, that is compile and run this program, you can right click here anywhere in the screen, click on run as, and then click on Java application. Now you can see that the hello world has been printed here to the console. Now suppose you want to add two numbers. So to add two numbers, we first need to declare two numbers. That is something like this. So here we have declared two numbers, like say integer x equal to 10 and integer y equal to 20. This x and y are called variables. Variables can hold some data. Now this integer is called the data type. That is, this integer x can hold any whole number. So your next question may be like, what if I want to hold a decimal number? What if I want to hold like a character or a string or something like that, like a text? We will see all different types of data types later on. But for now, remember, integer data types can hold any whole number. And then we can say something like integer c equal to x plus y. Let's say integer result equal to x plus y. And then we can print result. Now to print result, once again it is system.out.println. Now there is a shortcut to write system.out.println. You can say type SYSO and keep the control key pressed and press the space bar like this. And then you can say result. Now you can save this program and run it. Right click, run as Java application, and you will see that the hello world is printed and the result of 30 is printed. You can also say result equal to within double quotes and then plus result. So what this will do is it will print out, save it and run it. So here you can see that it has printed out result equal to, and then it has concatenated. This plus sign does not add. You cannot add some text and some number. So it's called a concatenator. It concatenates this text and this particular number, and then you see the printout result equal to 30. You saw how to add two numbers, and these are the signs for subtraction, multiplication and division, and this is the modulus sign. The modulus sign is used to find the remainder. For example, if you have like integer x equal to 10 and integer y equal to 3, int result equal to x mod y, what happens is 10 mod 3, the remainder is 1. That is, 3 goes in 10 3 times. 3 3s are 9, the remainder is 1, so the result will be 1. You can right click, run as Java application, and you can see that the result is equal to 1. Next, let us take a look at the if statement. We can always expand and collapse this package explorer by clicking here. So to learn the if statement, let us do another example. Right click on the package, new class, and then over here let us type example if. Select public static void main, click finish. We don't need these statements, let us delete them. So imagine I have two numbers, two variables, integer x equal to 20 and integer y equal to 20. An if statement goes something like this. You read this as if x is less than y. This symbol is for less than, to see if the value of x is less than y. Then I want to print out SYSO control space print x is less than y. Let us write another if statement. If x is equal to y. The way you say equal is you have to say equal to equal to. If x is equal to y, that means if the values of x and y are the same, x is equal to y. Let's check if x is greater than y. Now let us save this. You can either click here or you can press on control key and keep the control key pressed and then click on the S key, control S. We'll save it, or you can click on this particular save button. Now let us run this. Right click, run as Java application, you will see that x is equal to y has been printed. The reason is x is 20 and y is 20. It will come and check if x is less than y. Well, x is not less than y because 20 and 20 are equal to each other. Then it will come and check if x is equal to y. If x is equal to y, yes, both of them are equal, then it will print x is equal to y. It will also go and check if x is greater than y. Well, x is not greater than y, so it will not print this particular statement. So you just learned the if statement. But of course, if you notice, this is an inefficient way of writing a program. The reason is, it is checking if x is less than y, then it is checking if it is equal to y, then it is checking if it is greater than y. So it will run all these three statements. You can use an else statement to make it more efficient. Like this. You can say, if x is less than y, system.out.println x is less than y, else if x is equal to y, system.out.println x is equal to y, else if x is greater than y, then system.out.println x is greater than y. Now the advantage of this is, of writing a statement like this, is like it will come and check if x is less than y. If it is less than y, well, it will print it out. But in this case, it is not less than y. It will come here, else if x is equal to y. So since it has matched the condition, it will print this and it will come out of it. It will not go check else statement, because only if this fails, it will go to the next else statement. So you are saving that fraction of a second for the compiler. So let us save and run this. So you can see that you get the same answer, but then the compiler did not check this particular condition. And for the last condition, you really don't have to use this if statement. You can simply say like else system.out.println x must be greater than y. The reason is, so here you can see if x is less than y, else if x is equal to y, print this. Else, well, I am sure if it is not less than y and if it is not equal to y, it should be greater than y. Save and run this. You will get the same answer. As a new Java programmer, one of the most confusing things is the small issues like when to put the semicolon, when not to put the semicolon, when to use this curly braces and when not to use the curly braces, etc. Remember, these things you will know by experience. But for a general rule, any complete statement will end with the semicolon. For example, you see that int x equal to 20 is a complete statement. Whereas the if statement is not a complete statement. I am checking. There is going to be some kind of a code. If x is less than y, I want to do something else. So I will not end this with a semicolon. This is like some kind of a main method, so I cannot end this with a semicolon. Same way, whenever you open a curly brace, you must make sure that you close that particular curly brace. These are called curly braces. You can always check if a curly brace is closed by clicking on a curly brace, and you will see a small square box here on top of the one which is open. Same way, if I click on this, I will see a square box here, so that you can make sure that every open curly brace is closed. Same thing goes for if I click on a curly brace over here, the closing curly brace is shown. And these are called parentheses. You will get more used to these syntaxes as and when we go on. This system.out.println is a statement on its own. This less than symbol here is called a relational operator. These are relational operators. You may be wondering, what are the other relational operators? Well, there are a few other relational operators. Two equal to signs is equal to, an exclamation mark and equal to sign is not equal to. This is the greater than, less than sign. This is greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to. These are used to check if x is greater than or equal to y. Next, let us learn how to do a for loop. Let us create a class called example for. The for statement syntax goes something like this. For int I equal to 0, semicolon, I less than or equal to 10 semicolon I plus plus, all these within parentheses, then open curly braces, press enter, it will automatically do the closing curly braces, and here let us print out I. A for statement, you can see that has three parts. The initial value, that is int I equal to 0, the condition, that is loop through this as long as I is less than 10, and then the incrementer or decrementer of y. So the very first time the value of I has been declared as 0. So it will come here and it will check, is I less than 10 or less than or equal to 10? Yes, 0 is less than or equal to 10, so it will come here and it will print whatever, it will execute whatever is there within these curly braces. So it will print out system.out.println I equal to 0. Then once again it will go into this particular for statement. Now when it goes here for the next time, you can see that it reads this I plus plus. That means the value of I has been incremented by 1. I plus plus is nothing but I equal to I plus 1. Writing I plus plus is a short form of writing something like this, I equal to I plus 1. If you want, you can say I equal to I plus 1 right here. So it will start printing out like 0, 1, 2, 3, it will keep incrementing I till I's value reaches 10. When it reaches 10, what will happen is, yes, I's value is 10, so 10 is less than or equal to 10. Yes, it is equal to 10, it will print 10, but next time it comes, I's value will be 11, but 11 is not less than or equal to 10, so what will happen is, it will come out of the loop. So in this case, it will print from 0 to 10. So let us save this and run this. Right click, run as Java application. You can see that I can increment, I'll expand the screen. You can see that I's value has been printed from 0 to 10. I equal to 0 to 10. If you want to print from 0 to 9, all you have to do is remove the equal to sign and then run this. You can see that I's value has been printed from 0 to 9. You may be wondering, like, is there any other symbol like this plus plus sign? Is there anything else I should know? You can either use a plus plus sign, which is like will increment the value, or you can use a minus minus sign to decrement the value. Let us try using the minus minus sign. Let us put the initial value of I as 10 and we will check. We will print till I is greater than 0 and then we will say I minus minus. Let us save this and run this. So here you can see that it started out printing I equal to 10 and then it kept reducing the value of I by 1 till I became 1. Since 1 is greater than 0, it printed it, but 1 minus minus is 0. Once I reached 0, it came out of this loop. Next, let us learn about the while loop. Let us create a class. So we have a class called example while. Let us have some integer x equal to minus 10. The while syntax goes something like this. While x is less than or equal to 0, curly braces, print x. So here you have integer x equal to minus 10. While x is less than or equal to 0, well, minus 10 is less than or equal to 0, print x and then increment the value of x. We can increment the value of x by saying x plus plus, which is nothing but x equal to x plus 1. Now let us run this, save. So if you look at the result, x started at minus 10 and then like, is minus 10 less than or equal to 0? Yes, it is less than or equal to 0. So print out x equal to minus 10. Then it will come and increment the value of x by 1. So minus 10 plus 1 is equal to minus 9. So is minus 9. It will go back here. Is minus 9 less than 0? Yes, it is. It will print out x equal to minus 9. So it keeps printing out till x reaches the value of 0. Is 0 less than or equal to 0? Yes, it is equal to 0, so it will print out 0. But 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. 1 is not less than 0, so it will come out of the loop. So this is what we call a while loop. Now there are different ways to increment the value of x. You can either say x plus plus as you have written here, or let me comment this and type x equal to x plus 1. This is another way of incrementing the value of x. This will also work the same. Let us save and run this. You can see that there is no difference. And there is another way of writing this too. When you have something like x equal to x plus 1, you can also write it like this: x plus equal to 1. So this means x equal to x plus 1. Let us run this. So you can see it's the same answer. So different styles of writing it. So just remember, plus equal to means x equal to x plus. Let us change this number to 2. This means x equal to x plus 2. So here you are incrementing the value of x by 2. So you will get printouts like minus 10, minus 8 and minus 6. You may be wondering, is there any other symbol like this? So here you can see that you can either use plus equal to, which says x equal to x plus whatever number. It is called an addition assignment. You can also do minus equal to, or multiplication equal to, or division equal to, and mod equal to. Next, let us learn about the do while statement. Let us create a class called example do while. Let us declare some integer x equal to 10. The do while syntax goes something like this: do curly brace, and then your while statement comes here, while, let's say, x greater than 0, and then a semicolon here. And inside these curly braces, I want to print out x, and I will reduce the value of x. So let us run this and see how this works. So here you can notice, when I run this, it starts printing out x equal to 10, that is x equal to 10, do, and then it will come in here and it will print out x equal to 10. X minus minus will reduce the value of 10 by 1, that is 9. It will check, is 9 greater than 0? Yes, 9 is greater than 0, so it will come back to the loop and it will print out x equal to 9, and then it will come here, reduce the value of 9 by 1. It will come and check if 8 is greater than 0. Yes, it will go back here and print out 8, so on and so forth. So it will print till x equal to 1, and then x minus minus of 1 is 0. Is 0 greater than 0? No, it will come out of the loop. So this do while is very similar to the while loop. Do not forget to put the semicolon right here. So what is the difference between while loop and do while loop? Well, for a while loop, you can see that it first checks for the condition. It checks if x is less than or equal to 0, and then it goes and prints it. Whereas for do while, it will first print the statement, it will do all the work, and then it will check for the condition. So the main difference is the do while statement will run at least once. For example, if x is equal to minus 10 here, even though minus 10 is not greater than 0, this statement will still run. It will still print out x until minus x by 1. So when I run this, you can see that I have x equal to minus 10 printed out. So even if this while condition is false. Whereas for a while statement, if I make this 10, it will not print this even once. You can see that, well, 10 is not less than 0, so it will not print here. So do while statement executes the block of code at least once. Next, let us learn about and or statements. Let us create a class called example and or. Imagine I have two numbers, integer x, integer y. I can declare two variables like this, and then I can assign numbers to x equal to 10 Now imagine I want to check if both these numbers are positive numbers, that is x and y are positive numbers. The way to do it is if x greater than 0 and y greater than 0, curly brace and close curly brace. So the way you read it is x greater than 0, if x greater than 0 and these two ampersand sign is referred to as AND. If x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0, then print both numbers are positive. Else, if check if at least one of them is positive number, that is if x is greater than 0 or y is greater than 0. The way to write it is, the OR symbol is the two pipe symbol. You can find this pipe symbol right above your enter key. You have to press the shift and the key above your enter key. So you read this as else if x is greater than 0 or y is greater than 0. At least one number is positive. Else, well, I don't have to check if both of them are not greater than 0 and at least one of them is not greater than 0. That means both must be less than 0. That is, both numbers are negative. So let's save it, Ctrl S and run it. Right click, run as Java application. So here you can see that at least one num is positive is printed because x is 10 and it is a positive number. So this is the AND and OR statement. Now this will work even if you have like a single ampersand and a single pipe symbol. This will work the same. So what is the difference between this single ampersand and double ampersand is, this double ampersand is called a shorthand. Now what is a shorthand is, imagine I have x as minus 10 and y as positive 10. Now it will come here and will check if x is greater than 0. Well, is x greater than 0? No, it is not greater than 0. So what happens is this, if this condition fails, a shorthand will not even bother to look at the other condition because both the condition must be true for AND to work. AND is this x must be greater than 0 and y must be greater than 0. But if you have like two ampersand sign, it will know that it is useless to go look here at this particular condition here. The reason is, well, x fails, so it doesn't matter if y is positive or not. If you have like one ampersand symbol, what happens is it will check if x greater than 0. Well, no, it is not greater than 0, but even then it will go and check if y is greater than 0. You may be wondering then why use the single ampersand at all? Well, the single ampersand is used for bit operations, which I think you can read up on your own at a later stage. Next, let us take a look at the switch case statement. So let us create a new class. So imagine I have a variable like j equal to 2. The switch case statement is written like this. Switch within parenthesis j, curly braces, close curly braces. Then you create various cases like this. Case 0, colon, system.out.println value is 0. And then say break. Create another case. So here you can see that I have created various cases. Like I have a int j equal to 2 and then I have a switch j and then I have like case 0 which will print out value is 0 and then there is a break, case 1 value is 1 and so on. And then at the end I have something called as default and it prints out no value and then break. And then I close the particular curly braces over here. This curly braces, I close it here. Now let us save and run this. So when you run this, you get the value as 2. Value as 2 is printed. So you can see how the switch case works. When the compiler reaches this particular point like switch j, then it will look for a case which matches the value 2. So since this particular case matches the value 2, it will execute all the code in this particular block of code before the break is hit. And then it will reach this break and it will come out of this particular switch statement. If you do not have this break statement, then what will happen is it will fall down to case 3 and it will print out value is 3 also. So it will print out value is 2 and value is 3. I can save and run this, right? Run as. So here you can see that if I run this now, value is 2 is printed and then value is 3 is printed because I had removed the break statement. Now suppose there is some value like say 5 and we don't have any of the matching cases. In this case I have no case 5. So in those cases the default case will be executed, that is no value will be printed. Since Java 7, you can also use strings in switch case statement. Before Java 7 you cannot use string. String is used to hold any kind of a text. So let us modify this to use strings. String j holds a text as 2. So now let us say case 0, 1, 2. And you can see that I have also changed all the cases to like strings. Now if I run this, you can see that value is 2 is printed. So you can also use string in these switch case statements. Next, let us take a look at arrays. So here I have a new class called example arrays. Now what are arrays? Imagine I want to store a bunch of data. I can store data like this. So here I'm storing some data, that is integer a equal to 10, integer b equal to 20. I'm also declaring like variables like c, d and e, and I'm storing c as 30, d as 40, e as 50. Like I can have them in one line, I can have them in multiple lines, it doesn't matter. So I can store a bunch of numbers like this. But this doesn't look like an efficient way of storing numbers. I want to store 5 numbers. This doesn't look like an efficient way. And I'm likely to run out of variable names too. So another way to do it, maybe I can do the same thing like this. So let me comment out this block of code. To comment out this block of code, you can just select it, click on source, and then say add block comment. So this whole thing will be like blocked. So here I have like int a1 equal to 10, a2 equal to 20. Like this I can declare all the numbers. But this still does not look efficient. So what is an efficient way of storing large amounts of data, uniform data? So to do that, let me block this code. An efficient way of storing large amounts of uniform data is called arrays. So if you want to store a large amount of data, the best way to store the data is, so here I have declared an array of a. So how you declare an integer array is, you say integer square brackets a equal to all the numbers that you want to store in an array. Once you declare something like this, what happens is internally Java will create a boxes like this. Since we named the array a, it will label the boxes like this. So here you can see that we created an a array and it has 5 numbers. So Java internally will create 5 boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it will label the boxes as a of 0, a of 1, a of 2, a of 3, a of 4. This is read as a of 0, a of 1. And it will put those 5 numbers in these boxes. So this is an array, an efficient way of storing a bunch of homogeneous data. So if you want to access some data in this array, all you have to do is try to print out like say a of 2 and a of 4, it will print out 30 and 50. So let us print out something from the array. So here you can see that I am trying to print out a of 2 and then there is a space and then I am trying to print out a of 4. Remember, arrays always start at 0, so a of 2 will print out, this is a of 0, a of 1, a of 2, 30, and then a of 4 is 50. So let us save this and run this. So you can see that 30 and 50 are being printed out. Now you may ask, like, what if I want to loop through all the numbers and print out all the numbers in the array? To loop through all the numbers, you can use something called as a for each statement or an enhanced for statement. The way to write a for each statement or enhanced for statement is for Now the data type of the array, whatever the data type of the array, in this case the data type of the array is integer, some temporary variable, colon, and then the name of the array A, curly braces, and inside this you can print out the temp variable. So what happens in this case is, let us save and run this. You can see that all the values in the array, that is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 have been printed. So how this enhanced for work is, the very first time it comes and sees this for int temp colon A, it takes the first value of A, the first value of the array A, and puts it in temp, and then it is printing out temp. The second time it loops through, it takes the second value of A and puts it in this temp, and then it prints out temp. So this is an enhanced for statement. Of course, it is not required that whenever you declare an array, you should immediately give all the numbers in that particular array. You can first declare an array and then you can assign numbers to it like this. So in this case, I have declared an array called X, and I am saying like new int of 5. That means this X array will have 5 numbers. So immediately Java behind the scene will create 5 boxes and label them as X of 0, X of 1 till X of 4. Remember, arrays always start at 0. Now, since we have just declared the array, like here, and since that array X does not have any values, by default it will put the value 0. So here you can see that 0 is the value available. Of course, you can always assign data later like this. So here you can see that I am assigning X of 3 is 25 and X of 0 as 12. So X of 0 will be 12 and X of 3 will be 25. Let us loop through this particular array. I can have some temporary variable. So here I have some temporary variable temp2. I'm going to loop through this X array and I'm going to print it out. Let's save and run this. To differentiate between this printout and this printout, I'm just going to have this dash 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 printed in between. Save and run. So here you can see that it is printing out this other array with 12, 0, 0, 25 and 0. 12, 0, 0, 25 and 0. The zeros are default if you don't give any values for an integer array. Of course, you can create any type of arrays. You can also create string arrays if you want. So here I have a string array called st, which has 1, 2 and 3, and I can loop through string arrays. So you can see that it is printing out 1, 2 and 3. Same way I'm creating an empty string array, and inside which, so here I'm creating an empty string array inside which I'm placing the text 25 and text 12. You can see that these are not numbers. I have put them within double quotes. So let's save and run this. So same way here I am declaring a string array of 5 and I am putting the text 25 and text 12 in the string array of 3 and string array of 4, and I am looping through this particular string array. Now the one big difference between declaring a string array and declaring an integer array is, I told you if you declare an integer array, by default all the values will be 0 and then you can assign numbers. But for string array, the default is null values. The default is null values. So here instead of zeros, you're going to have null values and null here. And when you save and run this, you can see that 12, null, null, 25 and null are being printed. Next, let us take a look at a two-dimensional array. So here I have a class called example2dim_array. Now arrays need not be one dimension like this. That is, you have like one array of numbers. It can be two-dimensional. What does it mean by two-dimensional? Two-dimensional arrays are a kind of a matrix. So here you have like columns, column 0, column 1, column 2, and then rows, that is column row 0, row 1, row 2 and row 3. Two-dimensional arrays, you can label them. That is, here you have like a 2dim array of 0, 0, that is the 0 row and 0 column. This box is 0 row first column and 0 row second column. Here it is row 1 and 0 column, row 1 and 1 column. And in these boxes you can assign numbers, and this would become a two-dimensional array. So how do you go about declaring a two-dimensional array and assign values? You can declare a two-dimensional array like this. Int 2 square brackets, like an array name 2dim, and then new int of how many rows do you want and how many columns you want. Here you can see that I want 4 rows and 3 columns. So what I did is I named the array as 2dim and I said 4 rows and 3 columns. 4 rows, 3 columns. Now to assign data to this array, I can assign it like this. So here you can see that I am assigning the second row first column as the number 10. So the second row first column will be assigned the value 10. So like this I can assign data to any of these boxes. I can also use 2 for loops to assign data automatically like this. So here you can see that I have a loop within a loop. I have a for int I equal to 0, I less than 4, and then I plus plus, and inside this I have like for int j equal to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus. And now I'm going to say, so here I am saying like two-dimensional of I comma j is equal to temp, and the temp value, initial value is 10, and then I am incrementing the temp value, that is temp plus equal to 10, that is temp equal to temp plus 10. So how this works is, the very first time I will be 0 and then j will be 0. So two-dimensional of 0 comma 0 will be 10. Then the temp value will increment by 10, that is temp will be 20. It will go here and first it will go into the internal loop. That is I will still be 0 but j will increment by 1, so it will be 1. So 0 comma 1 will be 20. So you will have data like this. So 0 comma 0 will be 10, 0 comma 1 will be 20, this is the I and this is the j value, and here it will be like I value will be 0, next loop j value will be 2, and then the temp would have incremented to 30. So once j reaches 2 and then it increments to 3, it will come out of this loop, it will go back to this for loop, and I value will now be 1. So now it will once again come back. It will come back to this j, and j will start at 0 because now I is 1 and there will be a fresh j loop. So here it will be like two-dimensional of 1 comma 0, and that will be like the temp value. So it will take the latest temp value. So once that entire loop is done, it will fill up these boxes with these numbers. Suppose you want to see the printout, you can always redo this. And here, instead of assigning data, let us print it out. So I'm going to print out the two-dimensional of I comma j, the 2dim of I and j, what we declared here. So if you run this, you can see that all the numbers are printed from 10 to 120. 10 to 120. Of course, you may feel like I don't want everything to be printed in one line. Can we print it like a matrix? Yes, you can. Remember, the print line will always print in a new line, but you can use the print statement. The print statement will print in the same line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say system.out.print, print the number, but then the print statement will keep printing without creating a new line. So every time j loop ends, I want to print a new line. So I'll print an empty line like this, system.out.print line, and then I'll just leave it. So now let's run this. So here you can see that it has printed like a matrix, just like what we have drawn. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and so on. So this did not print in a new line. It printed the two-dimensional of 0, 0, then the space, that is 10, and then the next time 0 and 1, and then space. But once the j got over, before going back to I, it printed a new line. So it came here and then it started printing 40, 50, and 60. Next, let us take a look at string manipulation. String is used to hold any text. So for example, I have a string x equal to James Dean. If I want to concatenate string, I can do it like this. So this statement will print hello space and then it will concatenate it with James Dean to print out hello James Dean. If I want to convert the string into uppercase, I can say x dot to uppercase. Now like this, there are so many different methods. You can see here, when I say x dot, you have all these methods that you can do with. That is trim, uppercase, like substring and all those things. We will take a look at few of these string methods. X dot to uppercase will convert that particular string into uppercase. So x dot substring of 2 will print everything from the second character. Now what is the second character? Remember, when you have string x equal to James Dean, will internally create an array of characters like this. So you have like James Dean, each in their own boxes, and it will label it as x of 0 to x of 9. So when you say x of substring of 2, it will take from the second character, that is x of 2, till the rest of the word. So mes space Dean will be printed. When you say x of substring of 2, 7, then what happens is, it will print from the second character up to but not including 7. So it will print mes space and then D, up to but not including 7. So here you can see that mes space D has been printed. X dot char 3 will print out the character at the third position, that is E will be printed. Now sometimes what happens is, you may get a number as a string. For example, you have a string age equal to 37, which is basically a string, and then string salary equal to 78,965.83. Now if you have a number as a string, you cannot manipulate it. That is, if I want to divide age by 2, or if I want to multiply age by 2, I cannot do that. So how do I convert a string into a number? Well, we have a concept called wrapper classes. If you want to convert some kind of a string into an integer, this particular age into integer, you can do something like this. You can say integer.parseInt, and then you can pass this particular string. So what this will do is, this particular class called integer will take the string of age 37 and it will convert it into an integer and it will assign it to A. Now this you can divide by 2 if you want to. So here you can see that I am taking this particular salary which has a decimal number and I am converting it into a double number, double.parseDouble. And then I am passing the salary, and then whatever the double value I get, I can multiply with 0.15. I cannot do like divide by 2 here. It will give me an error. It will say that you cannot divide string by 2. But I can convert that particular string age into an integer and then divide it by 2, and I can assign it to A. Or I can say add 2 for this. So now if I run this, you can see that I got 39 as the answer because I have added 2, and I am getting 15% of the particular salary, that is 11,000. So this is called wrapper classes. There is a wrapper class for every primitive data type. Of course, the next question will be like, okay, we saw integer and you just introduced double to us to hold decimal places, and you also showed us a string which holds text. What are the other data types that Java has? Java has 8 primitive data types: byte, short, int, long, float, double, character, boolean. Now out of these, you will be using mainly integer for holding any kind of a whole number. An integer can hold a whole number of this range. If you want to hold any decimal values, you can use a double. And for holding true or false, you can use a boolean. Now string is not a primitive data type, but then use string to hold text values, that is string x equal to hello world or any text values. You will not be using byte, short, and long. You can use long if you have like a really long whole number. And for all decimal places, you can use double instead of a 32-bit float. So once again, you will mostly use integer to hold a whole number, a number without any decimals, or you can use long, and for using decimal, use double, for text, use string, for true or false value, use boolean. Let us do a quick review of all the concepts we have learned till now. Our very first example, we learned how to do a print statement. To print something to the console, you use system.out.println, and then you can put anything within double quotes and it will print it to the console. Same way we learned how to declare numbers like integer x equal to 10, and then we learned how to add numbers or like multiply or the mod. Mod is basically how many times does 3 go in 10. 3 goes in 10 3 times, so the remainder is 1, and the x mod y, it will print out the result as 1. Next we learned about the if statement. We had two numbers x and y. If x is less than y, print out like x is less than y. Else if x is equal to y, print out x is equal to y. Else system.out.println x is greater than y. Then we learned the for statement. A for statement has three parts. First is the initial value, then the condition. The condition must always be true for this for to be executed, and then the incrementer or decrementer. So in this case, I am going to print the initial value of I equal to 10. So it will check, is 10 greater than 0? Yes, it is greater than 0. Then it will go and print out I equal to 10. Then the next time it comes over, it will reduce the value of 10 by 1. I minus minus will decrease the value of 10 by 1. So this one will print from 10 up to 1 but not 0, because it will stop when it comes to 0. Then we saw the concept of while loop. A while loop will first check for the condition and then execute the block of code. So in this case, x equal to 10, as long as 10 is less than 0, it will execute this. In this case, it will not, 10 is not less than 0, so it will not execute. So you can see here, this will not be executed. But if you say as long as 10 is greater than or equal to 0, it will execute, and then here you are incrementing the value of x, or you can decrement the value of x if you want. So you can see that it has printed minus 10, it is 0 less than 0, and then you are incrementing by 2. Then we saw the concept of do while. Do while will first execute the block of code and then it will check for condition. So in this case, I have x equal to 10, it will execute that x equal to 10, and then it will reduce the value and it will keep looping till the value of x is greater than 0. So the advantage of do while is, even if the condition is false, it will execute this block of code at least once. So that is the difference between while and do while. Next we saw the concept of switch case. We can use like integer, double, or string. From Java 7 we can use string for the switch case. Switch case is like you have some kind of a data like string j equal to 2, and then switch j, it will look for a case that matches this particular string. So case 2, it matches this particular word 2, so this particular block of code value is 2 will be printed, and it will break out of this particular switch case. If you don't have the break, it will fall down to the next case and will start printing here. If none of the cases match, then the default case will be printed. Then we saw the concept of and or statement. That is, if you have like two conditions and both the conditions have to be true, that means you can use the and. That is, if x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0, then print both numbers are positive. If either one have to be true, then use the or statement. That is, x is greater than 0 or y is greater than 0, then print out at least one number is positive. We also saw the concept of arrays. So basically, if you have like some kind of a data, same data, and you want to store them, you can use an array. So this is an integer array of a, so which will be used to store an array of integers. It will create boxes and it will put them as a of 0 to a of 4. and you can access those data by saying a of 2 and a of 4. If you want to loop through an array, you can use an enhanced for or a for each loop. You can say like the data type integer, put some temporary variable, colon the name of the array a, and then you can print out temp. You can also declare arrays and then assign values to those particular array boxes. If you don't assign some value, by default it will take 0. And same way you can loop through this particular array too. You can also create string arrays if you want. Here you are creating a string array, and of course while looping through a string array, the data type of this array is string. You put a temporary variable, colon the name of the array, and then it will print out temp. And same thing happens for, you can declare a string array and you can loop through those string array. Of course, if you don't assign any value to a particular box, by default for string array it will be null value. You can also create two-dimensional arrays. Two-dimensional array is a matrix, that is, it will have 4 rows and 3 columns, so you have like two-dimensional array. And you can assign data to two-dimensional arrays like this. You can say like row and column, and you can assign some data. You can use a loop within a loop to assign data or to print a two-dimensional array. Then we also saw the concept of strings, that is how to manipulate strings, how to concatenate strings, use some of the string methods, get the substring and find what are the characters. And we saw the concept of wrapper classes, that is, if you have some data, some number that is as a string, that comes to you as a string, then you can always convert that into a number so that you can manipulate that number. Now let us try a few practice exercises. Let me create another package. Right click on source, new package, and then let me create a package called day1.exercises. And here I can create a new class called exercise A. Right click on the package, new class, exercise A, public static void main, click finish. You can view these packages two ways. Click on this, click on package presentation. You can either view them in a flat manner, that is, it will show like day1.examples, day1.exercises, etc. Or you can view them in a hierarchical manner. Click on package presentation and say hierarchical. So what happens is it will say like day 1, and within which it will show you all the packages and the methods or classes inside those particular packages. So for this first exercise, let us take a look at this data. Imagine I have this data, that is salary and tax rate. I want to write a program to calculate the tax. Now up to $15,000 the tax rate is 10%, from 15,000 to 40,000 the tax rate is 20%, and above 40,000 the tax rate is 30%. So write a program to calculate the tax. Imagine we have a salary, a double salary equal to 78,678.65. We want to see if this particular salary falls within those particular range. So let us have another variable called tax, and let us use a series of if statement to calculate the tax. So here you can see how we have solved the problem. We declared some kind of a variable called tax equal to 0.0, and then we are checking if the salary is less than 15,000 or less than or equal to 15,000, then calculate the tax as salary times 0.10, 10%. If the salary is less than or equal to 40,000, then calculate the salary at 20%, else calculate the salary, it must be, if it is not less than 15,000 and if it is not less than 40,000, it should be more than 40,000. So above 40,000, calculate the salary at 30% and print out the tax. So let us save and run this. So here in this case, it will calculate the salary at 30% of 78,000. Suppose I have like 10,000 as a salary, it will calculate it as 10%. You can see that 10% of 1000, 10,000 is 1000. If I say like 20,000 salary, it will calculate it at 20%. That is 4,000, which is 20% of 20,000. So we used a simple if-else statement to calculate the tax. For our next exercise, let us try to solve this problem. Imagine I have a string array called numbers, which basically has numbers but they are present as strings. That is, you have like 10 but it is within quotes, basically it is a string. Imagine I want to find the sum of all these numbers. Well, how do I go about solving it? Let me first declare a variable int total equal to 0 and let me try to loop through these numbers, loop through these string data. So we can use an enhanced for loop. Now I cannot say something like this. This will not be acceptable. I cannot say total equal to total plus temp because temp is a string. So how do I convert this particular 10 into an integer? I can use a wrapper class. I can say something like this. I can say total equal to total plus integer dot parseInt of temp. That means I take the very first 10 from this array, which is in temp, convert it to an integer, and then I'll add it to the total. So the next time it comes over, the 20 will be taken into temp, and then you convert the 20, and the 20 plus 10 total will be 30. So on, we can add all the numbers. Of course, a shorter way of writing this is you can simply say total plus equal to integer dot parseInt. And once we are out of the loop, we can print out total equal to total. Of course, don't try to print it within this particular loop because every time it loops through, it will print it again and again. Let us save and run this. So you can see that the total is 100 has been printed. For our last exercise, imagine I have a string a equal to hello world. I want to print out the word world in lowercase. Now how do I go about doing that? I can use a print statement and I can say a dot substring of. Now if I want to print out world, I can say like substring of 6. The reason I have to use 6 is h is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, the space is 5, so everything from 6. I want to print out everything from 6, so I will say a dot substring of 6. So when I save this and run it, you will notice that the word will be printed, but you can see that the W is in capital case. I want everything in lower case. So if I want to convert this whole thing into lower case, all I have to do is put a dot here and then say to lower case. Now you can save it, Ctrl S, and then run it. Now you got the world printed all in lower case. So with this, we end our day 1 exercises. Next, let us take a look at the concept of class and object. Now, if you have done any kind of programming, like Fortran or COBOL, and you are given a problem like calculate the total pay of an employee by adding their salary and bonus, how would you go about doing it? So we will have something like this. So given a situation where we have the employee salary and bonus, we will like add up the salary and bonus and then print the total pay. Or if you have done some COBOL or Fortran, we may call a method or a subroutine here. So here if you notice, we are taking the input of salary and bonus and then we are calling some kind of a function or subroutine to calculate total pay, and then this function will calculate the total pay and then we will print the total pay. So this used to be the old way of writing programs, a kind of a top-down approach. The program starts at the beginning here and then it ends here, and then you run this program again and again for various employees. Like for an employee like Alex, we will take a salary and bonus, we will call this function which will calculate the total pay, and then we will print the total pay for Alex. For Linda, we will run this program again, we will get the salary bonus, and then we will call a function to calculate the sum of salary and bonus and we will print the total pay. But in object-oriented programming, the same program of calculating total pay is written in a different manner. In object-oriented programming, there is first something called as a class. Now, don't worry about what a class is. Now, this class will have those two data, that is salary and bonus. And then it will have this function or what they call a method, which will calculate the total pay by adding the salary and bonus. So here you can see that what happens is there's a class called employee, which has like two data, that is like salary and bonus, and then it has like a kind of a method which will add up the salary and bonus and print the total pay. Now in some other place we will have some kind of a main method where we will create employees like this, like employee Alex, Linda, John. Now if you remember, this syntax is very similar to this, like integer x comma y comma z. Like we have integer x comma y comma z, we will have employee Alex comma Linda comma John. Now if you remember, when you say integer x comma y comma z, that means x can hold an integer, y can hold an integer, and z can hold an integer. That is, you can assign some integer to x, you can assign some integer to y. Same way, when you look at this, when you say employee Alex comma Linda comma John, that means Alex can hold an employee, Linda can hold an employee, and John can hold an employee. Just like x can hold an integer and y can hold an integer. So what does it mean by holding an employee? Now when you say int x, that means x can hold an integer, and when you say employee Alex, that means Alex can hold an employee. That means Alex will have his own salary, will have his own bonus, and will have his own calculate total pay. That means you can say Alex dot, since employee has a salary, Alex will also have a salary. Dot salary equal to say 90,000. Alex dot, since employee has a bonus, Alex will also have a bonus, 20,000. And since employee has a method called calculate total pay, Alex will have a calculate total pay method. So what happens now is, when Alex calls this calculate total pay method, it will call this method called calculate total pay, and it will add up the salary and bonus. But whose salary and bonus will it add? Since Alex is the person who calls this particular method, it will add up Alex's salary and bonus, that is $90,000 and $20,000, and it will print out over here 110,000. Same way for Linda, Linda will have her own employee. That is, Linda is a type of employee, so Linda will have access to her own salary, her own bonus, and she can call her own calculate total pay. That is Linda.salary, and Linda can call her own calculate total pay. So over here, when Linda calls calculate total pay, what happens is it will come here and it will add up salary and bonus. Whose salary and bonus? Since Linda is the person who called this method, it will add up Linda's salary and bonus, and it will print out $120,000. This Alex, Linda, and John are what you call objects. This Alex, Linda, and John are what you call objects. So what is an object? So an object can be defined as a copy of a class. So if you notice, Alex is nothing but it has a copy of the class employee. Because employee has salary and employee has bonus, Alex will also have a salary, also will have a bonus, and Alex will have its own copy of calculate total pay method. Since Linda is a type of employee, that means Linda has a copy of employee. That means Linda will have her own salary, her own bonus, and her own calculate total pay method. So an object can be defined as copy of a class, and some people even call it instance of a class. So if that is the case, what is a class? A class is a template for an object. A template, the meaning of template, if you remember, like if you use MS Word document, you can create new documents from like templates, existing templates, and then you can type in your own letter. So same way, this is nothing but a template. You create copies of this class employee and then you assign your own data for each and every object. So a class is nothing but a template for an object. Now what does a class usually contain? This is called data. This double salary and double bonus is called data, and this is called a method. So a class usually contains like data and methods. It will have multiple data and multiple methods. So a class contains data and methods. Now let us look at another example. This time I will have a class called box, which will have like two data, length and width, and which will have a method. So if you look at this class box, it has two data, length and width, and it has one method called calculate area, which basically multiplies the length and width and it prints out that particular area. So to make use of this class, I will create objects of this class. So here I have created two objects of this box class, that is UPS and FedEx. And since UPS is a type of box, UPS will have its own length and width, and FedEx will have its own length and width, and UPS will have its own calculate area, and FedEx will have its own calculate area. So here you can see that UPS, since it is a type of box, UPS will have a length, and I'm assigning 10, and UPS will have its width assigned as 5, and when UPS calls calculate area, it will multiply the length and width, and it will print the area. But whose length and width will it call? Since UPS is the one which called this method, it will use UPS's length and UPS's width, and it will print out 50. The same thing when FedEx calls calculate area, it will use FedEx's length and width, and it will print out the area. So this UPS and FedEx are called objects. So what are objects? Objects are nothing but copies of this class. Each and every object has a fresh copy of this class. It has a fresh length, fresh width, and a fresh calculate area method. And a class has data and methods, and it is a template for objects. So let us try out the two examples that we saw. That is the employee class and the box class. Now let us create a package called day2.class and object. And in this, let us create a new class called employee. You need not check this public static void method. So in this class employee, we are going to have like a salary, bonus, and a calculate total pay method. So now if you see, I have this class called employee with salary and bonus, and then I have this method called calculate total pay, which adds up the salary and bonus and prints out total pay equal to the total pay. It is giving me some kind of an error. Now to remove this particular error, you have to put this void in front of this method. Now you may be asking me, what is this void? We will learn more about this void and return type later on, but for now remember, this particular method is printing out something right here. It is not returning this any value. This method is not returning any value. So void means that this method is not sending any value anywhere else. It is just printing it out right here. Of course, we will see more uses of void later on. Let us save this class. And let us create another class in the same package, and we'll call this like test employee. And here let us select public static void main. In this main method, we are going to create objects of employee. Now to create objects of employee, you can either do something like this. So to create objects of employee, you can either do something like this, employee Alex, Linda, John, and then we can initialize each and every object. This is a requirement, you have to do this. Or you can say employee Alex equal to new employee. So this new employee is required. You are initializing the object. So once you have created this employee objects, Alex, Linda, and John, you can assign the salary and bonus for each and every object and call the calculate total pay. You can say Alex dot, and here you will immediately see salary bonus. So that means this Alex object has a copy of salary, a fresh copy of salary that you can assign. Alex dot bonus equal to Alex dot calculate total pay. So when you say Alex dot, these things must come. Now when you run this, save it and run this particular main method, right click run as Java application, you will see that the total pay of 110,000 is printed. Same thing goes for Linda. So Linda has her own salary, her own bonus, and Linda can call her own calculate total pay. And when you save and run it, you will get this Linda's total pay printed right here. So let us try out the other example, the box class, and create box objects. I'm going to right click on this package, new class. So in this box class I have like a length, width, and a calculate area method, which basically multiplies the length and width and then prints out area equal to area. And to test this box class, I'm going to create a test box class with the public static void main method. I'm creating two objects of box, UPS and FedEx, and I'm going to assign the length, width, and I'm going to call the calculate area method. So when you run this box class, this main method in the box class, right click run as Java application, you will see that the area is 50 for this UPS and area is 42 for this FedEx. Now a few conventions while creating classes. Class name should always start with a capital letter. Now these are conventions, not a rule. It will work even if you have a lowercase e here, but then follow the convention so that your code looks neat. For data, data always starts with a lowercase. Now if you have two words like salary of employee, that means the next word will start with the capital letter. So you can have data like this, salary employee or something like that. Then the next word will start with a capital letter. But if you have only one word, it's all lowercase. Same thing goes with the method name. You start with the lowercase, but the subsequent words you will have capital letters. Like calculate, total pay, T and P are capital. So here also if you notice the double total pay, the T is small letter, but the P is capital letter. Also, if you have like lots of classes opened here and you feel like, I want to close the others, you can just right click on the class and say close others. So you'll have only one class open at a